You wake up at 6:40 in the morning and the first thing you do is nothing. Not scroll for 10 minutes and hate yourself nothing. Actual nothing. You lie there. You stare at the ceiling. There is no glowing rectangle on your nightstand because in this world, nobody ever built one. There's a clock radio playing an ad for a car dealership across town, and you're waiting for it to end so you can hear the traffic report. And you're not restless. That's the part that'll get you. You're not reaching for anything because there's nothing to reach for. You just wake up slowly, like a person, for as long as it takes. When was the last time your morning started at your own speed? So here's where you are. You're in your late 20s. You rent a one-bedroom above a dry cleaner, you work an office job downtown, and today is a completely ordinary Tuesday in a world where the internet was never open to the public. Not never invented. That part matters. The computers exist, the satellites exist, cell phones exist, and they make calls just fine. What never happened is the part where all of it got wired together and handed to everybody. The government kept the network locked up for defense and research, the walled-off dial-up services that came before it never merged into anything, and by the time the dust settled, the world just kept going. Same technology, no shared nervous system. So let's walk through your Tuesday. You're going to want more of it than you expect. You get up, you put on coffee, you open your front door, and there's a newspaper on the mat, folded in half, damp along one edge because it rained overnight. This is how you find out what happened in the world while you were asleep. Not a feed, not a push notification. A stack of paper that somebody threw at your building from a moving car at 4 in the morning, containing what a room full of editors decided last night that you needed to know. And here's the part that's going to short-circuit your brain a little. You finish it. There's a last page. You read the front section, the local section, the business page, and then it's over. You are caught up. Not caught up for now, pending refresh. Caught up. Done. There is no more, and there won't be more until tomorrow morning at 4. Imagine being finished with the news. Imagine your relationship with the world having an actual endpoint every single day before you've even left the house. Work is a 15-minute drive. Your car has a radio and nothing else. No screen. No calm robot voice telling you to turn left in 400 feet. When you have to go somewhere new, you look it up in the road atlas in your trunk and write the directions on an index card and you prop it against the speedometer. If you get lost, you pull into a gas station and ask a stranger, and it's fine because everybody does that, which means you actually know your city. Not, I know the general area and my phone handles the rest. The whole street grid lives in your head. You've never had to be told where you are. The office is loud in a good way. Phones ringing, actual phones with cords, 40 people typing, somebody yelling across the room asking if anyone has the number for the county records office. Somebody does. It's on a Rolodex on her desk, cards in handwriting that belongs to people who quit 15 years ago. Here's how you do your job. Say you need a figure from the county. You call. A human picks up. She says she has to pull the file and she'll call you back. And then you wait. Maybe an hour. Maybe until tomorrow. And nothing bad happens while you wait. That's the thing. Nobody expects you to have it in 4 minutes. The whole world runs at the speed of a person walking to a filing cabinet, which means you are never behind. There is no version of you that should have already responded. Your job has a pace, and the pace is human, and everyone agreed to it a long time ago without ever having to discuss it. When you need a document, it comes by fax. There's a machine by the window that screams like a dying modem, and then slowly, line by line, an image of a piece of paper crawls out. 40 seconds a page. A long document is a coffee break. And you take the coffee break and nobody thinks anything of it. Around 10, you get into it with the guy at the next desk about some piece of sports trivia. He says he's positive. You say he's making it up. And then here's what happens. Nothing. Nobody looks it up because there's nothing to look it up in. So you go back and forth for 10 minutes laughing at each other, and eventually somebody changes the subject and it's over. Nobody won. Nobody got proven wrong in front of anyone. It was never about the answer. It was about 10 minutes of talking to a guy you like. You have hundreds of these, and they all just dissolved, and not one of them ever curdled into something worse. Lunch is a diner 2 blocks over. You know it's good because a guy at work said it was good. That's the entire review system. No stars. No photos of the food taken by strangers. Nobody has pre-chewed your order for you. You found the place because you walked past it. And the woman behind the counter knows how you take your eggs, which took her about 4 months to learn, and now it's just a thing she knows about you. While you eat, you look around. 2 guys in work jackets in a booth, mid-conversation. A kid, maybe 19, staring out the window, perfectly content. Nobody in this diner is looking down. They're not better than you for it. It's just that the room is the whole event. When you're here because there's nowhere else you could possibly be. Now the afternoon. You need to find someone. A guy who retired from your company years before you started, who apparently knows something about an account nobody else understands anymore. You don't know where he lives or whether he's still around. So here's your move. You call directory assistance and ask for that surname in the county. The operator reads you 4 listings. First one, a woman tells you you've got the wrong number and is very nice about it. Second, just rings out. Third, a man picks up, isn't the guy, but thinks his cousin might know him, and digs up another number for you while you wait on the line. Fourth call, and there he is. 81 years old, thrilled to hear from anybody, wants you to come by Thursday because his hearing isn't what it was. That took you 40 minutes. 40 minutes in which you talked to 4 strangers, 2 of whom went out of their way to help you for no reason at all, and one of whom you're now having lunch with on Thursday. That's your whole world, actually. Everything you want has a person attached to it. You cannot get through a single day here without other people being decent to you, and so they mostly are, because they need you to be decent right back. After work, you stop at the video store, which is still open, still packed, because where else would you get a movie? You walk the aisles for 15 minutes, pick something up, read the back, put it down. This is the good part, honestly, not the movie. You leave with a thriller you've never heard of because it was on an end cap, and the cover looked cool. That's how you find everything. Accident and proximity. Nothing has ever been recommended to you by a machine that studied you. Nothing has ever been aimed at you. Every book on your shelf, every record you own, every movie you've seen got there because you bumped into it or a friend put it in your hands, which means your taste is genuinely yours. Nobody has ever ranked you. There's no number attached to you anywhere. No version of your life sitting next to somebody else's for comparison. You have never once wondered if you're doing worse than a stranger because you have no idea what strangers are doing. You get home a little after 6. The answering machine has one message, your mom asking you to call her back. You do. You talk for 25 minutes, and it's a real conversation, with a beginning and an end and a couple of tangents. Not a stream of small check-ins across the week. One proper talk, all at once, undivided. And then you check the mail. Okay, now the part you've been waiting for, even if you didn't know it. There was someone you went to school with. You shared a house junior and senior year, and he was, flat out, the best friend you've ever had. After graduation, he took a job on the other side of the country. You stayed put. You wrote for a while, then you didn't. Then it had been 3 years, then 6. You couldn't find him. There was no name to type into anything. No profile with a photo of him standing next to a woman you'd never met. Whatever his life became, you had no window into it, and he had none into yours, which is why, 2 months ago, you called the alumni office and asked if they had a last known address. They did. 4 years old. They absolutely were not supposed to give it to you, and the woman on the phone gave it to you anyway. So you wrote him a letter. Paper, pen, you wrote it 4 times, because whatever you put down was going to land in a sealed envelope with no chance to add anything after. You couldn't be casual about it. Casual doesn't survive the trip. So you told him the true things: your job, your apartment, and the fact that you've missed him for years and had never once said it out loud until you were writing it down. Then you mailed it, and you waited 7 weeks. It's Tuesday. It's in your hand. The envelope is thick, 4 pages, front and back, in handwriting you'd recognize anywhere. He's married now. There's a photo inside, printed, slightly overexposed, of him and his wife on a porch. He says he thought about writing you a dozen times and never did because he figured you'd moved on. He still has the coffee table the two of you found on the curb outside your old house. He says he's sorry and he's not totally sure what for and he'd like to fix it. You sit down on your kitchen floor with your back against the cabinet and read it 3 times. And here's the thing. You're not going to check anything else tonight. There's nothing else coming. This letter is the whole evening. You get to sit here and have exactly one thing to feel for as long as you want to feel it, and nothing is going to interrupt you. You'll keep it, obviously. It goes in a drawer and you'll find it again when you're 50, and you'll hold the actual paper he touched, and you'll know precisely what it cost him to sit down and write 4 pages by hand. Because writing 4 pages costs about as much as meaning it. So think about the other version. The one where none of this friction exists, where you find him in a second, where the two of you fire something small at each other every week for 6 years and never once have to sit down and account for yourselves. Maybe in that world you never lose him. That's a real thing to want. But you'd never get an evening like this one either. The light's going orange through the kitchen window. There's no notification coming. There is nothing else to look at. So you read it a 4th time slowly, and you're in absolutely no hurry.